New boy in the neighborhood lives downstairs, and it's understood. He's there to produce lots of fallacies, like he doesn't know logic like me. Charles posted on this video that I did. Charles posted on a different video, and I responded, and I say, I need Charles to learn logic with me. Okay. Alright, so anyways, Charles posted this thing. Here we go. Nothing equals not anything. That's how it's defined in philosophy. That's how Craig defines it in the Kalam. Nothing is not a thing, or it wouldn't be nothing. Right. Yeah, this is in response to my William Lane Craig Part 4. Yeah, there's so many things wrong with the fucking Kalam. I hate the Kalam. So, it doesn't matter how it's defined or who defines it. What matters is if it's actually a thing or not. We've never observed a nothing. So, whatever we have to say about it is pure speculation. It's purely a human construct. So, whatever we want to say about nothing, that's something we came up with. Maybe there really was or is a nothing out there, but we have not yet observed it, at least as far as I know. So, what it is, I don't know. But if it's not a thing, okay, I'll grant that. Tentatively speaking, then that means there are no rules, or so that permits either logical absurdities or it permits one thing coming into existence that then now has a rule. Or maybe you can't have a nothing because of the paradox of logical absurdities. So a true nothing is impossible, meaning this type of nothing couldn't even be a thing in the first place. So I said, how do you know what nothing actually is? But if there is nothing, then there can't be a God, because the God would be something. So it's either you have nothing or you have God. Which is it? You can't have it both ways. I know what it is because I know how it's defined. Oh man, we're getting into natural language problems. Yeah, that's Craig's alternative. He argues a mind is the best explanation. I know. And Craig is wrong. But I'm saying it's either mind or nothing, but you don't know that. And that's a false dichotomy. The point of the defense of the first premise is if there's something in front of you, you ask what caused it to be there. The answer is not nothing, no thing. How do you know that? Depends on what it is. How do you even know it has a cause? But it doesn't matter because the first premise is flawed from the get-go. You do not know that anything. You only know what you've observed. So there's that error among others. But he doesn't understand logic, I don't think. So anyway, so I asked him, hold on a moment. Can't, my mouth. Dang it. And a problem with doing live. I said, you do understand there's a difference between how we define a word and what things really are in the real world. We have no example of nothing. So whatever we say is a human concept. I already said that, but anyways. How do you know there's a cause? How do you know the cause is not nothing, since nothing has no rules? How can a mind exist with no brain? And he said that how it works when we define things based on how they are in reality. Okay, let's stop right there. And I see he's in chat. Hey, Charles in charge. Let's go to where new words come from Merriam-Webster here. So, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I would consider these guys pretty much an expert in where words come from. So here's where words come from. I'm not going to read through it because it's long. But does anything in here suggest that words make words create reality? No, reality creates words, yeah. But there are many things that we have words for that aren't really a thing. Okay, like that they're descriptive of something that's an abstract object of the mind, that it doesn't exist more than that. One example would be universals. Triangle. So I say triangle. You can look up the word triangle, but there is no actual triangle in reality. And you might say, wait a minute, yes, there is. Okay, draw a triangle. Well, if you draw a triangle, what you've done is draw a particular type of triangle. It might be a accused, might be a cute, it might be a whatever, but it's not triangle. It's a type of triangle. The universal term exists as an abstract object of the mind. It does not exist in reality. So many of our words are like that. And nothing is one of those words where we decided what it would be. We humans came up with it. But if there really is a nothing, or ever was a nothing, or ever will be a nothing, we have not yet observed that state, and perhaps we couldn't because we would be there to see it, and therefore you wouldn't have nothing. Regardless, if you mean a true nothingness, then does that also mean no rules? Or is there always a rule, which means it's not nothing because you have that rule? And if you have a rule, then it's not a true nothing. Therefore, the true nothing cannot exist. You have to decide what you want the word to be. But that doesn't make it what it actually is in reality. We don't know if there ever was a true nothing in the first place. That's a pure abstract idea that we have. Okay, but it's not where words come from. So, no, you're wrong about that. Okay. I'm going to have all the links to all this in the description when I'm done with this. Let's see. What was the next part here? Let's see. Yep. Okay. Okay. So now here's this question. Okay. Whoopsie. Let's get that bigger. We know the cause is not nothing because of the second defense of the first premise, which is broken defense. If something could come from nothing, not anything, why doesn't it happen all the time? I actually explained that, if not in this video series, I think I explained it in the cosmological argument video, but I'll explain it again. Once you have something, you no longer have nothingness. So then you couldn't have more stuff coming from nothing because you don't have a nothing anymore. It's very simple. So if you have a state where anything is possible, and then something comes into existence that says, well, now only certain things are possible, then the rule that said anything is possible is gone. Doesn't exist anymore. You now have a something. So the reason why it doesn't keep happening is because you have a something. The other possibility is if there continues to be a nothing in some location, however that works, there's no reason to think that stuff isn't still coming from it. Our universe that we know, as we understand it, is expanding. So maybe it moved away from the nothing that started it. And maybe there's other universes being created. And maybe other things are coming from that nothing. Who knows? I don't. You don't either. But that's the problem with these sort of philosophical abstract arguments, is they don't get us to reality, they get us to philosophy, which only works if you use logic. Unfortunately, the Kalam is not logical. It should be chaos. Things should be popping into existence. Maybe it is, as I said. Saying there's no rules on nothing is a semantic game. No, it's what the word actually means. You're the one that wanted to define it this way. I can easily say there's nothing permitting something coming from nothing. Right. And that's exactly it. Yeah, there is there if you have a nothing, then there is nothing permitting something coming from nothing. Exactly. That's the problem. Well, minds exist and they can affect the brain. Okay, so let's look this up. Okay, there's plenty of scientific peer-reviewed papers on this subject. Here's one I found. Let's see. Get to the right screen. All right. So this is The Brain Produces Mind by Modeling by Richard M. Shifton and all these other people. And so it's long. I'm not going to read all of it to you. But basically, the argument here is that the brain makes a model of reality that we call the mind, essentially. The brain makes the mind, not the other way around. But this is the problem with dualism. People that believe in dualism have this problem with accepting reality as it is rather than as they want it to be. And I say that, I wish I didn't have to say it like that, but that's the way it is. The brain makes the mind. The mind cannot exist without a brain of some sort. There has to be something that produces a mind. We have zero example of a mind without a brain. If your brain gets damaged, your mind is damaged. And all the dualist does is say, no, it's the other way around. The mind is trying to, like, one example I've heard is that the brain is like a radio receiver and it's receiving signals from the mind. Oh, you're talking about the soul, essentially. You're saying the mind is this disembodied thing that's just out there somehow, and it's talking to the brain somehow. And when the radio receiver gets damaged, then the mind can't talk to it the right way. But that's not what you perceive on the inside looking out or on the outside looking in. What we see is when somebody gets their brain damage, their whole persona changes. There's amnesia cases, person completely, this guy got into some accident and all of a sudden he has a wife and kids and all this, and he doesn't remember any of them. Not at all. Not even a little. That guy basically died in that accident and a new person emerged, because from that point on he was a blank, not a blank slate, but just somebody that he knew how to do things like walk and talk and eat and stuff, but he didn't know who he was or what anything was. He had to see that, the pictures and videos and whatever, but it was like, who is this person? That must be, really weird to be in. But that's how it works. And then, of course, there was an experiment or two with people that had brain hemispheres that were split and they were cut for a certain reason. And this one guy, the left side of his brain was an atheist, and the right side of his brain was a theist. The right side is creative, the left side is analytical. Make of that what you will. But again, completely his whole being that he was before his brain was split, very different now. Now he's basically kind of like two people. And the only way for his right side to communicate is through writing or drawing or something like that, because the left side communicates, or and of course the right side controls the left hand and and all this. So very complicated. Very interesting. But nonetheless, the brain is responsible for the mind, not the other way around. Now, if you think it's the other way around, great. Produce a peer reviewed scientific paper, one, just one, that says that the mind is before the brain, that the mind can exist outside of the brain, or that a brain isn't needed for a mind. Show me that scientific peer reviewed paper. You won't find a single one. End of story. So you're wrong about that. Okay. Let's see. I think there was one more thing he was wrong about before I end this and talk to the comments. Oh, the NDEs. Oh my God. I'm so tired of hearing about NDEs. If you actually bother to look into NDEs, what you would find is that every person from every religion always has a near death experience that relates to their religion or a religion that they're very familiar with. The Hindu always goes to the Hindu thing, the Christian goes to the Christian thing, the Jewish goes to the Jewish thing. Some people have hell or whatever, but it's always the thing that they're familiar with. It's never something that they've never heard of before. It's never that they all have the same exact experience of heaven. And all it is what happens when the brain is shutting down. And we've been able to produce it in other ways. So they're a bunch of nothingness. But you don't want to look into the NDEs. You don't want to actually do any of the research. All you want to do is defend this broken argument of the Kalam. The Kalam cosmological argument has multiple fallacies, both formal and informal. I covered all of them in my video, the KCA, and then this is the defenses of the KCA that William Lane Craig produced that I also made a video series on. The fact that Craig had to defend the KCA at all in the way that he did shows that there are numerous flaws in it. An argument should stand or fail on its own merits. This argument fails. What does it mean to begin to exist? There's no answer to that. It's incoherent. What do you mean by a cause? What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Then premise two is just a bald assertion. We don't know what our universe began to do or didn't begin to do, and that phrasing is sloppy and is not used in real cosmology. But an argument is not defended for rational, logical reasons. Typically, these arguments are defended for emotional ones because people, I don't know, because people. All right, so let's see. What's Charles say? You don't understand the Kalam or anything I'm saying. Nothing is a thing. Nothing means not anything. No, I understand the Kalam quite well. It's you that doesn't understand logic. That's the problem. But you don't care. It doesn't matter to you. It doesn't matter how I explain how broken the argument is. It won't matter. You need this argument to work so that you can have God. If this argument fails, does that mean God doesn't exist? No, right? But I don't know. It's like this argument's like your idol, and you're worshiping the argument rather than the God or something. I don't know. I don't understand why people can't accept this argument is flawed. It's flawed in every single way that it could be. That's it. It's broken. Fix the damn argument. All you have to do, it's not that hard either. I even go over it in my KCA video, is fix the first premise. At least start there. Say the things that we have observed have a causality to them or something like that. But you'd have to really change it to be really precise language. You'd have to really get in there and do that. But nobody's going to do that because that would, they'd find quickly that they couldn't make the rest of the argument stand. Nothing isn't a thing. It's not anything. No, yeah, I agree. Nothing isn't a thing. At least that's what you want to define it as. Now show me a nothing. You can't. Define logic. Which version? Informal logic, formal logic, mathematical logic. But when I say logic, I usually mean informal logic, which is what I'm using to analyze this argument and others like it, and they're broken. That's it. The Kalam is broken. That's it. It's broken. That's it. Let's see. J.P. Moreland, whoever the hell that is he a peer-reviewed scientist? No. Do I care about what he says? Nope. It's an analogy. Oh, good. An argument to analogy. Wow. The mind is the thing that reads, records the brain like a... yeah, that's exactly what I said with the radio signal. No, it's not. That's not what the mind is. The mind... it's if you want an analogy, the one that I think of is traffic. So traffic is an emergent property of having a lot of things that are moving, whether it's people or cars. Usually we think of cars and traffic. So if you didn't have any cars, you wouldn't have traffic anymore. So there wouldn't be anything to create the traffic. Okay, and the car here would be the brain. If you don't have the brain, you can't create the mind, which is the traffic. That's it. That's how that works. I know. Maybe there's a soul somewhere else on top of that, and we haven't yet detected or found the soul. But until we find it, there's no reason to believe in it. Well, there's reasons like emotional reasons, but there's not a logical reason. So, that's all I care about is logic. Let's see. Yeah, right. And then I wrote about nothing in my blog as well. I've written about this problem and things like this. But the way that we define a word doesn't mean that's what the word is. And what I mean by that is we humans construct our language to try to explain concepts to each other. And because of natural language problems, we don't necessarily understand each other. And what is natural language? It's that every word can mean a little bit of a different something to somebody else. So when we use the formal language of informal logic, as odd as that sounds, when we put things into premises like this, we need to be very careful to use precision of language. We have to be very precise with what we're saying. And when you take a universal, not universal, what's the word? Superlative. There we go. Superlative, like all or everything or nowhere or nothing. When you have that in a premise, you have to demonstrably demonstrate that that premise is known. So the classic example of all men are mortal is accepted because we know that all men are mortal. Of course, there's a problem if you believe Jesus was a man, because then you have a counterexample to all men being mortal. But only if you believe in magic, I guess. Yeah, Charles is stuck on what nothing is. Okay, well, I don't know. I don't know how to help you. So, anyways, so that's why he was wrong. He was wrong about the mind, and I challenge Charles to show me a single one, just one. Find me a single peer-reviewed by scientists. Has to be a scientific paper. I don't want a Christian paper. I don't want a philosophical paper. I want this to be from a scientist. Bonus points if it's a neurologist, but it doesn't have to be. Any scientist that published it in a reputable scientific journal of some sort, and it was peer-reviewed by other scientists, that says that the mind is something independent from the brain, separate from the brain, that the mind creates the brain, that the mind doesn't need the brain, anything like that. Anything. Even close. I challenge you to find it, Charles. You won't. On the subject of nothing, there's a lot to say about nothing. But whatever you think it is, it doesn't matter. The Kalam's still broken, no matter what you think it is. The Kalam is still broken. And you need to watch and rewatch my Kalam cosmological argument KCA video and see all the fallacies. But that's not going to do you any good unless you understand logic. So, how do you understand logic? Well, read a book on informal logic, and that will do it for you. Hopefully, I'm gonna link all the things that I put here in the description below. And you guys and girls, and robots, and whatever you are can continue the discussion with each other in the comments section. I'm done with this. I'm happy with what I've said. And, if Charles wants to engage in conversation, you can always make a video or something, or join me live anytime. Let me know a day and time. Heck, you could do it now if you wanted, But, we'll see. Let's see. Will you join in now? Let's see. There's the StreamYard link. Will you join in now? I'll give you a few minutes to decide whether or not you want to be humiliated. Be corrected. Whoopsie, I closed the other links I had. Oops, there we go. Okay, there's that one. And there is that one. Okay, I gotta link those in the description when I close this. Yeah, I always forget about the shape-shifting lizard beings. Okay, look, I can't remember everything. All right. Well, it's been a few minutes. Yeah, I don't understand anything you're saying. Yeah, Charles, you're right. That's why you're coming in here to correct me. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyways, I'm done. Charles needs to learn logic, but that's, what else is new? All right. See you all next time or something. Whatever. Go learn logic, Charles. Please. There's books on it, you can get. Hell, I'll send you one. Well, I'll send you a digital version if you want. Lobsters exist. Blah!